Welcome to another episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. I'm your host, Shara-chan. Today is Sunday, December 22nd, 2019. Got a lot of really cool stuff to go over this week, including some new updates to Master Rule in Yu-Gi-Oh!, as well as my tournament report from this past regionals in Seattle. So without further ado, let's get right down to it, shall we? In Yu-Gi-Oh! News, Konami announces the next Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG booster, Secret Slayers. This past week, Konami revealed the next booster set on the way for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, which will be called Secret Slayers. Now, this will be an all-foil booster set that contains 60 cards in total, 40 super rares and 20 secret rares. You'll get 3 new themes to build on with rock, plant, and zombie type. Aside from the small artwork and pieces of info available, all we know is that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Set will be released on April 3rd, 2020 at $4 per 5-card pack. This description comes directly from the Konami website. Quote, "Solve the secret to slaying your opponent this spring with Secret Slayers. This all-foil booster set introduces 3 new themes for you to customize and build. Uncover hidden treasures with the power of a rock theme. Build upon the unshakable gallant granite from Chaos Impact and sculpt your strategy to defeat your opponent. Cultivate natural beauty with the force of a plant theme. Your garden is in full bloom with the explosive Lone Fire Blossom from Mystic Fighters to launch your game plan into action. Master Necromancy with the trickery of a zombie theme. The wicked Jack-o'-Bolin from Ignition Assault heralds the arrival of a new wave of zombies to reinforce their endless army." So, sounds pretty cool. We'll have to see. Personally, I'm more interested in the speed duel sets at this time, simply because there's a lot of support for some of the decks in speed duels that is not yet available. And I'd like to see those decks really shine through and possibly get some better support in the way of better tournament support and everything. But I digress. Also in Yu-Gi-Oh! News, we have Rush Duel information. The main concept of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, which is the new anime series, is focusing around Rush Duels. From the brief Q&A held at the Jump Festa with the main cast, Rush Duel is a new concept created by the protagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Apparently he doesn't like the concept of rules, but rather building his own road forward. However, we quickly learned that from April 2020, Rush Duel will also be introduced as a new product for the OCG, as in the physical card game. Of course, the TCG will probably see Rush Duels sometime next fall, maybe early summer at the earliest. Okay, as explained in the schedule that was provided, the product branches into the existing 11th product season of the official card game, with Rise of the Duelist being the first product of the season, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel with an unnamed product. Now, this also matches the premiere of the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's anime, as well as the application of the Master Rules update on April 1st, which I will get to in a moment. The 3 characteristics of Rush Duels, they use specialized cards, like with speed duels. New cards are easy to interpret and very attractive are introduced. Continuous summoning. You can summon any number of monsters per turn. And mass drawing. Each turn you draw until your hand becomes 5. Well, as for the first point, obviously the cards are different from standard. For the second point, the stream clarified from Jump Festa clarified that, for example, under the existing rules, you are only allowed 1 normal summoner set per turn. In a Rush Duel, as long as you have monsters in your hand, you can keep playing as many as you want. If you have a level 5 or higher monster, you contribute it as usual in the same turn. The third point replenishes your hand after playing several monsters from your hand by drawing cards in each of your turns until your hand size becomes 5. Now, personally, from the standpoint of somebody who's played several different trading card games, This sounds an awful lot like they are trying to combine some of the rules of Magic the Gathering with Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duels. Personally, I have no problem with this. I always said that summoning in Yu-Gi-Oh! Needed some kind of update. I don't think this is it though, because we already have so many special summoning abilities that everything seems overpowered. Adding in the ability to normal summon as many times as you can also seems overpowered. I mean, it does help that you are limited to 3 monster zones, as evidenced by some of the images that we're getting, especially from the what's the word I'm looking for? The trailer for the new anime. So we'll have to see. Lastly, before I get to my tournament report, the master rule change. As of April 1st in the OCG only, which means that the TCG will probably get it late summer, early fall. Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monsters will be summonable to the main monster zone in addition to the extra monster zone. The rules for Link monsters will remain the same. You are not limited to one of each. For Pendulum monsters, they are also identical with one small change. Face down Pendulum monsters in the extra deck, such as Nirvana High Paladin, can be summoned to any zone the first time, but when Pendulum summoned back to the field from the face up extra deck, they still must be summoned to the extra monster zone or zone a Link monster points to. The name for this update will be Master Rules, not Master Rule 5 or new Master Rule 2. So basically what this means is that your fusion monsters, your synchro monsters, and your Xyz monsters, and any face-down Pendulum monsters from the extra deck can be summoned to any main monster zone. Any face-up Pendulum monsters or any Link monsters summoned from the extra deck must be summoned to the extra monster zone first, and then from there can be summoned to any main monster zone that a Link monster points to. Basically, this opens up quite a bit for your, DDD decks that rely on the fusion summons. Of course, heroes will definitely get a boon from this. I know personally for me, my Gravekeeper's deck, which I will talk about in a moment, definitely gets some help from this because I can now bring out multiple Gravekeeper Supernaturalists. Before I was limited to one Supernaturalist on the field. So that really does help those decks that rely on fusions or rely on Xyz monsters or synchro monsters. Oh boy, we're going to see a lot of synchro spam when this rule comes live to the TCG. Speaking of my Gravekeeper's deck, anyway, my tournament report from the Seattle Regional Qualifier. Let's see. First round, I played a Rockets deck. He beat me pretty well, 2-1. He beat me in the first game. He tried to side deck a little bit against my Gravekeepers, but I was ready for that. I beat him in the second game, and then in the third game, he again did a little side decking and beat me in the third game. The second game of the match, the second round, pretty much went the same way. He beat me first game. I beat him second game. He beat me third game. The third deck I played, I think, was a Thunder Dragon deck. You'd have to check my Twitch stream to be sure. And in that one, I beat him the first game. He beat me the second game, and then he beat me the third game. The fourth match, I beat my opponent game 1. He beat me game 2, and then I beat him game 3. The fifth match was a bye round for me because my opponent did not show up. The sixth and final match that I played, my opponent did not show up until almost 5 minutes past when start of round was called, and proceeded to just steamroll me with a really crummy Thunder Dragon deck that basically did not allow me to play the game at all. Now, I'm not complaining about him beating me. He beat me fair and square. What I am upset about and what I am mad about is the fact that he was very rude about showing up late. He did not allow me to finish calling for a judge to mark him as late. And he didn't apologize for being late. He said that he was sitting at the wrong table. He read the match round pairings wrong and was sitting at the wrong table. No excuse. No excuse at all. I mean, it's very easy to read, okay, I am sitting at table 62. He claimed he read 62 as 82. There is no possible way he could have mistaken a 6 for an 8. Not the way it's printed on the page. But I digress. After the tournament was over, or after I was done with the tournament, I went over to the vendors. I made roughly $133 selling my cards to the vendors. I even spoke with one of the vendors about coming to their store to buy a particular card. So I might actually get to speak with somebody at the store about doing an interview for my podcast, since I wasn't able to get an interview with any of the top players at the tournament. It was getting late, it was dark, and I needed to get home. So, but that's my tournament report for the Seattle Regionals. That's pretty much all I have for Yu-Gi-Oh! News this week. I know there's a lot to unpack here, so I will just go on to the next segment. In Pokemon news, Pokemon Go's Buddy Adventure feature lets Pokemons walk with trainers. Now, if you've grown up watching Ash Ketchum travel the world with his Pokemon friends, there's no way you haven't wished about being in his shoes and having Pikachu by your side. While some wishes never come true, Niantic has granted Pokemon Go users a new feature that serves as a consolation. With the help of the new Buddy Adventure feature, Pokemon Go users can now have a Pokemon of their choice that will follow them in the virtual world. Now, the new Buddy Adventure feature is tailor-made to develop an immersive experience. For starters, the Pokemon you choose as your buddy will follow you on the game's map. You can feed it berries in augmented reality mode and notice its expressions. Niantic says that each Pokemon has different perks and exhibit a diverse range of movements and expressions. Now, the closer you get to your buddy, the more in-game reward users will unlock. Now, there are 4 different levels, namely Good Buddy, Great Buddy, Ultra Buddy, and Best Buddy. Now, each level brings with it a different perk. For instance, being best buddies with your Pokemon can get you CP boosts in combat. You can become better friends by improving your Pokemon buddy's mood via hearts. Hearts can be earned by doing tasks like taking snapshots of your buddy in augmented reality and so on. And when you reach the highest mood, i.e. excited, you unlock a bunch of perks like cutting the distance required by your buddy to find candy by half. Now, Niantic says it is also working on a shared AR experience mode that will let users sync up with up to 2 other trainers to take a group photo with their Pokemon buddies together. Now, if you've been a hardcore fan of Pokemon and Pokemon Go, this new feature is a great way to enrich the experience of playing in the world of Pokemon. I have personally been playing around with this a little bit with my Espeon. It's kind of a neat feature. My only concern is that you lose hearts that you gain by feeding it berries or walking with it quite quickly. I have seen hearts disappear in as little as an hour after earning them. So maybe Niantic should, instead of doing it that way, they should have the hearts reset every day, not like every hour. But that's just my personal opinion. Also in Pokemon news, Pokemon Go drops ton of Pokemon from egg pools. Pokemon Go has dropped nearly 100 different Pokemon species from its egg pools, including tons of starter Pokemon and longtime favorites. Earlier this week, Pokemon Go announced that it had switched up which Pokemon can hatch from eggs, adding a few new Pokemon species and dropping over 90 species from various egg pools. Most of the Pokemon species dropped from the egg pools were Pokemon from past generations, Pokemon that players would already likely have in their collection. Other Pokemon were pulled from the main egg pool and left in the Adventure Sync egg pool, giving players more incentive to collect the Adventure Sync egg rewards. The 90 Pokemon species dropped from the egg pool include the following. From the 2K eggs, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, Abra, Machop. I would read all of these, but I'm not going to. There is quite a lot, 90 different species. Now, the current list of Pokemon available in eggs can currently be found online. I will try and have the link available in the show notes. I do apologize. I've been really bad at the show notes lately. Let me know what you think about the changes, and I will let you know how to do that at the end of the episode. That's pretty much all I have for Pokemon news this week. On to the next segment. In entertainment news, Redbox is getting out of video games and selling all of its Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch inventory for cheap. Earlier this month, Redbox revealed that it was getting out of the gaming rental business in order to focus solely on movie rentals. Given that Redbox has been renting out video games for the past few years, the company has acquired a rather large inventory of Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch games. As part of their transition to movie-only rentals, Redbox is selling off this enormous inventory for ridiculously low prices. The thing is that you can only purchase these games through your local Redbox kiosks, so you're at the mercy of what's available near you. In addition to that, they come in the Redbox disc case instead of the original box, but considering how cheap they're selling, it's worth it. Now, you can check to see what games are located in your local kiosk by going to the Redbox website. Now, these are some really good prices. In my local kiosk alone, I've seen quite a few games. Borderlands 3 going for like $20, Super Mario Maker 2 for Nintendo Switch selling for only $35. Now, these deals are going to fly out of these kiosks once word gets out, so you'll want to check your local Redbox machine as soon as you can. It's the best time of the year for this to happen, too. You might be able to pick up the perfect Christmas present for super cheap. So make sure to check your local kiosk before they sell out of all the good video games. That's pretty much all I have for gaming news this week, and actually pretty much all I have for this episode. On to the final thoughts. Before we get to the final thoughts, a quick word from some other shows you might find entertaining.
Hey, I'm Chen.
And I'm James.
We're from A Bloody Mess Podcast, the badly researched true crime podcast.
We straddle the boundaries between documentary and comedy, and our aim is to leave you laughing and thinking, wow, I didn't know that.
So once you're done with this podcast, add us to your download lists and give us a go. Have a nice day.
Bye.
There's been a murder of podcast.
Hello! Do you listen to podcasts? Did you seriously just give me that look? I knew you listened to podcasts, but do you listen to the Bare Naked Ladies? Wait, don't hit fast forward. Yes, there's a band out there called Bare Naked Ladies. They are quirky, fun, comedic, and excellent musicians. If you love alternative 90s music with a little jazz, rap, and country mixed in at different times, then you've got to try this band out. And we will lead you through a journey of getting to love this band. We have 3 or 4 people with different levels of bare naked experience. We have Aaron, who's our music expert that breaks down each song. We will try to be informative, but also, we're all friends, so we like to have as much fun as possible. If you are a moderate fan of BNL, then you'll find new experiences and information. If you're a BNL fanatic like me, then I bet you too will find a song that is a deep dive that you never knew of. We sometimes have guests after the first letter. Oh, did I not mention that? We are Bare Naked ABCs, and the ABCs represents that we discuss the songs alphabetically. So come try us out on all platforms where podcasts are downloaded. Bare Naked ABCs. And no, we are not nude during the recordings.
Bare naked, bare naked, bare naked, ABCs.
Hello, future listeners. We are Historical AF. I'm Ashley.
I'm Keena.
And I'm Natalie.
We are two librarians and a historian bringing the funny, weird, spooky, and morbid historical nuggets you never knew you needed in your ear holes every Sunday.
And once a month, we bring you extra AF episodes full of your stories and history in the news.
And we do this while hitting the giggle water and gracing the world with our foul mouths and wit.
So if you love to laugh and you like history, true crime, and the paranormal, then we are the podcast for you, and your girls can't wait for you to join us.
You can find us on all major podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. For a full list of ways to listen, go to historicalafpodcast.wordpress.com. And while you're there, you can check out the photos that accompany each episode.
Yeah, bye. We'll see you soon. I don't know. That'll probably scare them away.
Yeah.
Probably.
Come to us.
Come to the dark side. We have vodka.
And
Yeah.
cookies.
Hell yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Well, here we are at the end of yet another episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. I hope you have been entertained and informed. We certainly did cover quite a bit this week, including some really cool news coming out of Yu-Gi-Oh! And an interesting tidbit from Redbox. So, like I said during the gaming segment, check your egg box. Make sure you don't miss out on some of those great deals. If there is something you wish to comment on or a suggestion you wish to make for a future episode, there are several ways that you can contact the show. You can email me directly. The email is hazardousverbal@gmail.com. You can go to the website, hazardousverbal.com. Go to the contact page. There's links for all the social media, as well as a contact form you can fill out. That'll also sign you up for the mailing list. I'm hoping to get a decent newsletter going soon, so keep an eye out for that. If you wish to leave a voicemail message, you can contact me through Skype. The Skype ID is Ichimoto1. That's ICHIMOTO numeral 1. If you do leave a voice message through Skype, I will make sure to play it in a future episode. Like I said, we did certainly cover quite a bit. I did mention during the Yu-Gi-Oh! Segment that I would talk about my Gravekeeper's deck. In this episode, I did not believe that that was a good fit. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create a YouTube video and a special podcast episode just for the deck profile for my Gravekeeper's deck. So keep an eye out for that. I should hopefully have that produced very soon. I'm also going to try and see if I can get it put up on my Twitch channel as well. So if you follow me on Twitch, the Twitch ID is MacroMaster2015. I actually did little end of round reports on my Twitch channel throughout the tournament yesterday, so you can check those out. I also do a lot of World of Warcraft gaming and Hearthstone gaming, and I'm looking to add Gears of War 4 to that repertoire fairly soon. It's pretty much all we have for this week, so this is Shuritan signing off. Peace.